Hello there. How's it going? So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how we help Rahim, one of our clients, collect over $40,000 in new revenue in less than 60 days, actually, with a brand new offer with less than 4,000 people actually following him. So, that might sound crazy, but in this video, I'm just going to break down exactly how we did it and, some actionable steps that you can probably implement to, get similar results as well, too. So, let's jump right into it. It's Mahiz here. If you don't know me, my name is Mahiz. I run Webful, and, we. We helped the client Rahim go from a completely done with you offer from zero, like because when he started it was actually from zero to 40,000 in new cash collected in a single month with just one acquisition channel, guys. And over here is some proof that he was able to generate that, and this was across all of his payment platforms. And I'm also going to show you the exact sales process he's been using to actually help him close 12,000 deals up front. People actually giving him $12,000 just wired straight to his bank account, and also the acquisition system he's been using to book around 2 to 3 calls every single day on average, just using inbound DMs without any sort of code outbound, with less than 4,000 people following him, guys. Like, this is not a lot of people. Like, you might be watching this and you might already have maybe 5,000, maybe 10,000, maybe 15,000, and you might not have been able to, achieve these types of results. If that's you and you haven't witnessed, like, this is the exact video for you, because I'm going to break down exactly what you can do and also what we've done to help, Rahim get this amount of money. So, let's jump right into it. But before I get into that, I just want to let you know who this is not for. So who this is for specifically, because this is for you if you actually want to start a coaching offer or a done with you offer. This is for you. If you already run a coaching or consulting business, this is already for you. If you have a social media audience, so maybe let's say 5,000, 10,000, 15, 3,000, just like a decent health of people following you, then this is for you. But like, if let's say for example you don't even know how to probably even monetize it, this is also for you as well too. And let's say like you sell low ticket courses, you charge low ticket retainers, you sell stuff like $49, like $100, $500, and you're just stuck around that 5K to 20K a month mark, then this is for you specifically, because we're going to show you exactly how you can transition to charge high ticket stuff. And if you're in an agency, for example, and you sell a done for you service and you're just finding it extremely difficult to scale, it's really hard to find clients. You have maybe like an audience, but your done with you offer only works with very specific types of people, and you're just finding it very difficult to find these types of people. Or let's say you just have an expertise in something, like you're really good at something, but you just don't know how to package it in a way that make it so that it's like very clear, very straightforward, and it can take someone from here to here. Then this is for you. So if that's you, you should get excited, because this is gonna like blow your mind, I promise you. But before that, I want to just let you know who this is not for, essentially. Because if you don't have an online presence, this is not for you. Because I'm sorry, I can't help you make money out of thin air. It's literally impossible, guys. Like, if you don't have that, then please, this is definitely not for you. And if you also don't want to start a coaching business, this is also not for you as well too. And if you don't want to actually build good products and serve the people that actually pay you, this is definitely not for you. And if you're not at least minimally competent in what you're doing and you can't teach someone else, then this is definitely not for you. Okay, so now that you know who this is for and who this is not for, let's just walk right through exactly what we can do, essentially. So, is this even possible? And yes, it is very possible, like I just showed you before, to scale to 25 to 30K a month without a huge audience. In fact, if you have, let's say, around 30 to 50,000 people, not 30, like 3,000 to 5,000 people, literally just that small amount, you can collect at least 25, 30, even 40 grand with that small amount of people. I know people that even do more than that, because the problem is that most people don't think it's possible, because they're selling stuff that no one really wants to buy, because many people are really stuck selling things that no one wants to look at it, so they don't make any money. It's like, if you have an audience of cats, for example, like let's say you have an audience that you're showing cat pictures to like people, and you come in here and you're gonna start selling dog food. No one's gonna buy that, because they want to watch the cat stuff. So it's not really going to make sense. And it sounds really like crazy, but this is what a lot of people actually do in the audiences. They sell stuff that no one actually wants to buy. So you always have to start with, okay, what do people actually want? If you don't sell people what they want, you're going to have a very hard time making money. And I'm going to show you exactly how we figured it out for Rahim, okay? So the first part is figuring out what people actually want. But before I dive into that, if you don't know me, my name is Mahiz. I run a growth partner agency where I basically come into businesses and launch and scale their coaching offers, done with your consulting offers, to 30K to 50K a month, guaranteeing that they at least sign 5 to 10 clients every 90 days or less. So that's pretty much my offer. And just to give you some context and some background, I actually didn't start like this. I think last year, 2022, I was literally just a content agency. Like people come to me, I'll edit the shorts, the reels, I'll post it, I'll give them some strategies here and there. And as I started scaling, I started realizing that my clients had a lot more problems than just content, because getting them an actual ROI was extremely difficult at the time. And every single time I sign a client, let's say 3 months later, they will leave because I didn't have a lot of clients. And they will basically just keep saying, oh, your service was great, it was amazing, but I just didn't get an ROI. It's hard to track an ROI, so we won't be moving forward. And it's literally the same cycle of sign clients, they leave. So it just stuck with me. So I had to rebuild my whole offer around getting clients and ROI with my services last year, December. And ever since I did that, I started scaling since then. So fast forward to today, I spent a lot of time understanding acquisition, getting really good at it. And my team and I have probably sent over 15,000 DMs. So I really understood how to, book people on calls. So much to the point that I actually got hired by a multiple 7-figure company that actually paid me to coach 300 plus of their agency coaching and consulting clients on how to get more appointments. And these are some screenshots of the results that they were able to achieve. This quite a few, but I just wanted to just put that in there so you can, put into perspective that this stuff I'm about to show you actually does work. So the results were so crazy that they had to add my specific methods into the program. So now, I build and launch these and scale these offers, help people get a predictable source of acquisition and collect a lot of cash, because, I realized there was a gap in market of people that they can't really build good offers and they really can't solve the acquisition. Like, it's either one of those two things. Like, they just don't know how to do them. So I met Rahim, going back to him, at the start of March 2023 this year. And I was just offering him content at the start because he wanted to actually white label content for his clients. So he tried it for himself to see if it was good. And then obviously as we got to know him a little bit better and know his business, I realized that he literally had way more problems than just, content that was stopping him from scaling. So I actually proposed a plan to him to actually help him scale through a Loom video. And this is exactly what he told me. So this was me sending Loom on July 3rd. I was like, hey, let me know what your thoughts are. He was like, just watched it, crazy powerful, well explained. Solid, man, I'm on board with this, send me the invoice. And obviously I had to upsell him. And then this was when we were consulting him in July. Before that, we were actually consulting him on business problems, but July is when we actually said, okay, cool, let me actually implement my growth thesis in his company. And ever since then, he was scaling. So you might see some stuff that was happening before the 4th of July. That was probably from the event of us consulting him. So everything we implemented worked so well to the point that I was able to collect $40,000 in a single month when he just had 4,000 followers on Facebook, which was the channel we were using. Yes, Facebook is a good channel to actually use. And this method, by the way, will work if you have an Instagram page, or Facebook, if you have a Twitter page, any page that just has a substantial following, it will still work, okay? It's just the same principles, it's just a different platform. So at the time of launch, he had just on a 3.9k followers, and he didn't have this picture with Magazi that obviously has a lot of social proof. So yeah, and like I said, $12,000 upfront for me to implement the system in them is not a joke, guys. It might seem like I'm rambling, but I just want to really put this in your head. You don't know how hard it is to get a stranger to wire you $12,000 on the internet. So I'm gonna break it down simply so that you can actually replicate this in your companies. Okay, cool. So here's my thesis on actually scaling coaching businesses. So I'm not the first person to realize that many coaching businesses are actually really the same. At least the profitable ones, the ones that make a lot of money, usually follow the same structure over and over again. There's a lot more steps to this, but I want to break this down very simply. The first thing that they figure out and they're really good at is what the market is and who they're serving and what the problem is. Okay? And then they know that's extremely well. And then after that, they have the offer that they're selling to the market. The offer is the thing that they're actually selling. So you have the market, you have the thing you're selling, and then you have the acquisition channel. So this is how you're getting people to see the thing. Where are you going to find these people that have this specific problem in the market? Is it Facebook? Is it IG? Is it Twitter? Is it YouTube? And then the method of acquisition. So there's different ways you can actually, so now that you know where your people are, how are you going to get them into your ecosystem, your funnel? So there's ways you can do it. There's using funnels, there's 2-steps, there's DM setters, there's, DM closing. There's lots of ways to actually get clients through the door. There's many ways to scale an account, but this is just an example. And then there's a sales process. So sales process is, okay, cool. Now that you've got someone interested in your ecosystem, how do you get them to buy your stuff in the most frictionless way as possible? And then after that, your onboarding and your delivery of the actual service. So how good is your onboarding? How quickly can someone jump in and how quickly can they get results? Okay. and then scaling these components. So how quickly can you scale each specific component once you figured out, okay, cool, this is working, let's amplify this, and then implement a feedback loop. So feedback loops are basically when your inputs will produce an output. So what that means, for example, if you get a client and you get them a result, and then you make a case study out of it, that is inherently going to bring you even more clients. So understanding these things is what helps. I think there's more than 6 here. I think there's just about 8. I don't know why I put 6 that, but like, these are, every successful coaching businesses have these things in place. If you don't have these things in place, it's going to be very difficult for you to succeed. Okay, just want to put this into perspective for you guys. So it looks straightforward, but these pieces work together in tangent. So if one thing is off, like if it starts from, let's say even the middle bit, if the sales process is off, everything else is off. So you have to build these types of businesses in chronological order, just like how I showed you above. Let me explain. So let's talk about the market. Let's talk about the people that you actually serve, okay? Everything always starts with the market, because the market is actually who is going to give you money, okay? These are the people that are actually going to, you'd be like, okay, cool, I'm going to give you money because I want you to solve this thing. So a good example is, if you think about drug dealers, for example, they make crazy amounts of money. And for obvious reasons, is because people, for some reason, want drugs. Obviously, it's illegal in a lot of places, so is what it is. But let's say, for example, if you have something that someone wants, so for example, let's just say drugs, you will make a crazy amount of money because people just want it. And that's the same principle you have to use in coaching businesses and when you're selling things in general. If you have a few thousand people just following you, you can make a crazy amount of money, because if you have something that someone wants to buy, they will buy it regardless. They will find a way. So you want to switch your perspective to, how can I sell the thing? How can I sell the drugs of my industry that everyone wants to buy? So if you want to figure that out, you literally just have to ask the people, what do they want to buy? So even though it's extremely straightforward, this is what most people do. Most people will go and copy someone else's funnel. And they were like, oh, if it's working for them, it's probably going to work for me. They're going to listen to a business coach. And then the business coach is going to, get them in the program, make them watch 10 hours of the modules that they just recycled from Hormozy on how to make an offer. And then they make the offer and, it just comes out thinner. It's like nothing. And then they send it to the business coach and he's like, this is good. People are going to love this. And then they might even change the offer depending on who they speak to. So let's say they hop on a call, the offer is one thing, and then they hop on another call and then the offer is another thing. So it literally doesn't resonate with anyone. And then maybe they even try to target everyone and the extended family. They try to target the ancestors as well too. But it's so broad to the point that no one even knows who they're selling it to or what it actually does. They might even have, let's say, for example, the shower door, and they just put stuff out there and they basically make no money. So you don't want this to be you. You definitely don't want this to be you. And if you've done these in the past, it's completely fine. But you don't want to keep doing this, okay? So the way that you position yourself from not doing this stuff is by asking the people what they actually want to buy. So this is exactly what we did for Rahim. So we asked a specific set of questions, looked at his previous sales scores, and also asked him, okay, what was his people actually saying? Because before this, he actually had his own coaching offer, but he wasn't consistently getting sales because he didn't have the system in place. And frankly, it wasn't an offer that people wanted to buy. So he basically told us, and this is exactly what he said after speaking to hundreds of coaches on the phone. It was like, coaches don't even want coaching anymore. They want implementation. They actually want someone to just do the things for them. So no one likes going through a 20-hour plus course only for them to be told to send 30 to 50 DMs per day and you make money, or put $15 to $30 a day to an ad funnel and you make shit tons of money. That surprises you, but that is a lot of programs nowadays. They'll just try to hide the fact that it's a course, and then when you get in, it's actually a course, and then you just have to do everything by yourself. And if you don't, they'll be like, oh, it's your mindset. It sucks, doesn't it? And this is what Rahim was actually doing. So we had to completely revamp what he was doing to actually confirm with what the market actually wanted to buy. So we came up with this new offer, and it was how to add an extra 30K per month, which was the number most people wanted, to your coaching business without paid ads, starting today with a new organic framework approach. So we made it new because obviously people had a negative connotation when it came to organic marketing. They were like, oh, it doesn't work. So we had to kind of play on the fact that people were thinking that stuff doesn't work. And this was kind of a hybrid of a coaching and a done with you offer. And it was mainly a done of a coaching and a done for you offer. It was a done with you service that not only showed them how to do it, but also helped them implement it as well too. So we structured it in such a way that they get done for you aspects from Rahim himself, and also aspects that they could have done that they did themselves that was very low leverage, so it didn't really take them much time to do. So once we understood that, we had clear information on how to structure the offer, how to present it to the marketplace, how to build the funnel to the offer, and how to conduct the sales process, which I'm going to show you exactly how we did all of these steps as well too. So if you want to be able to get to this point and you're watching and you're like, oh wow, that's really clear, here are a few questions that you can ask, and these are a few questions you can ask and a few answers you can look for when you're trying to, let's say when you're trying to build an offer. The best ways to do this is if you've had previous sales calls, I will listen to them again, talk to previous clients, or conduct discovery calls where you're trying to just see if people could be potential clients. So these are some of the sets of questions that I would like to ask. I'll basically ask them, why did you get started with X and why did you want to scale it? What was the main goal that you had? What roadblocks are stopping you from achieving these goals? What would be a realistic timeline if you had a step-by-step action plan to actually achieve these goals? And what was your desired timeline? So what these are going to do, I'm going to explain to you a little bit later why we ask these questions. And what have you tried previously is also a good one. What worked and what didn't work? And then what was the worst experience you've had trying to scale your business? And when you're looking at sales goals, really pay attention to the discovery phase. What have they tried before? Why did they think they haven't scaled? Why did they think they need to scale? What did they try that they hated doing? So when you have these things, when you have all this information, please write this down when you're asking these questions. You are going to get crystal clear information on exactly what they want. So all you need to do is literally just get the Alex Hormozi formula. I will help you end result in time frame without roadblock plus guarantee. And then you build an offer like that. So let me show you an example. So the reason why we ask over here for the end result, what is the main goal you have, that is going to be the end result. So the common end goal is going to be the end result, and then the time frame is going to be the common time frame that people said in the calls, in the discovery process, whatever, like in your research. And then the roadblock is going to be, oh cool, the roadblock is going to be what people struggled with or stuff that they tried that just didn't work for them specifically, okay? And then the guarantee is just a guarantee. You can say, your money back or we'll work for free until you do. It doesn't really have to be complicated. So when we did this for Rahim, it was so simple. The end result was literally what people said in most interviews. Most coaches said that they want to be making at least 30K per month consistently, which is fine. And some people said they want more, some people said they wanted less, but this was the average, so we used that number. And then the time frame was also easy. So in the interviews and the calls, we had people asking, asking about time frames. Some people said 90 days, some people said 120 days. We settled for 90 days because it was shorter and it was easier, and it was actually possible to get them the results that they're looking for in that time frame. The roadblock was basically what people just didn't like doing before. The most common objection we had was ads. People said, we tried ads, it didn't work. People said, we tried courses, it didn't work, blah, blah, blah. And then we put a guarantee on it, and then boom, we're going to offer. So it's so much easier once you do the market research, guys. Like, just to give you a summary, you understand what people want. Then once you understand it, you package that in a way based off this formula that is proven, and go directly to them and show them like, hey, this is the thing that you want. And at this point in time, we knew what we wanted. We had crystal clarity. So we knew that the money was called in. And we accepted the call. So now we started the deploying process. So this is how we actually were going to solve the acquisition problems and everything that was, stopping him from scaling to the money he wanted to make. Okay? Cool. If you're enjoying this video so far, guys, please make sure to, hit a like. It would really help me, get to more people who would also want more transformations like this. So appreciate that. So yeah, let's jump right into the second part, acquisition. So when we launched the first two-step on the 24th of May, we actually figured out that we were going to get a lot of people to actually show their interest. We posted this one on the 10th of May and then the other on the 24th, and had quite a lot of interest from it, like 138 comments of people. So the call to action was to comment, and quite a lot of people did. And then same thing here, he reposted it again, and even more people commented this time. So there was actually quite a lot of demand for this, like so much demand that he wasn't able to keep up with all of the stuff that was happening. So we basically had to tell him, like, look, you need someone that's going to come into your company and actually do this hard stuff for you. So we vetted and we actually helped him place an appointment setter in his business that was responsible for handling all of the conversations that Rahim was supposed to be having on a daily basis. And I basically trained this appointment setter 3 to 5 hours a week, every single week when they started for the first, I think, 3 or 4 weeks specifically. And this is just a screenshot of the calls to show you proof that we were actually doing this. These are the DMs that we're having. These are the meetings that we're having. Like, these were like going on for quite a while. They would be going for like 30, 40 minutes every single day, sometimes even an hour. And, we're just trying to diagnose and see ways we can respond. And Funny enough, she actually went through a certification that basically taught her how to set appointments from one of the biggest like multi seven figure companies that teaches appointment setting. And she obviously started working with me, and she was like, hey, like you have a way better process, way better experience. Like, this was way better than what I was taught in the program. And to give you context, this program was probably around like 5 to 7 grand specifically. And it goes to show that actually being in the trenches and actually doing the work that, is going to get you results is way more valuable than someone that had like a ton of case studies back in the day, and they don't actually even do the work that they do in the programs anymore. Like, they tell you to do one thing, but they do another thing, and it just sucks. So the setting process that we used on to get to people on calls was very simple. We basically interacted with every single person that friend requested, that followed, that liked, that commented, that engaged with stories, that engaged in his Facebook group. These are people that are in your ecosystem. If you want to say, oh, why do we even interact with these people in the first place? Imagine, let's say, for example, you go to a supermarket, and in the supermarket, like, people are in your supermarket. So this is like, let's say people are following you, people are liking your stuff. There's people in the supermarket. And let's say, for example, you're trying to help someone find something, and you put a sign that says, hey, if you need help, go to the clerk. You will get people that will go to the clerk if they need help. But then you see people that will just walk past the sign even though they know that they need help. But let's say you came directly to them, and let's say the clerk actually came and she was asking every single person that was walking in, hey, how's your day going? Do you need help finding something? They'll be more open to be like, yeah, I actually do need some help, because you're already there in the first place. And this is the exact principle we are using when we're messaging people. Don't think of it as like, oh, I'm spamming my audience. Or no. You're literally helping them. You're serving them. And that's going to allow you to make a lot of money. It's a lot easier to, get out people on these calls, because these are the lowest hanging fruits, guys. And it works the same way on other different platforms like Instagram. If someone follows you, someone likes the content, someone comments, that is an implicit request to request more information. It's the same thing with Twitter. If someone likes or follows your content, or retweets your stuff, that is another implicit request of, yeah, I like this guy. If you don't DM anyone that follows you and you engages, you're literally saying no to free money. Like, people say, oh, I have a lead problem. I don't have enough leads. I'm making content, it's getting views, but they're like, oh, not many people are reaching out. Cool. How many of the people that engaged did you actually DM? None, right? So how are you supposed to get a predictable source of lead gen? Like, the only point that you can get to that point is if you're getting in thousands or hundreds of thousands of views every single day. Then you don't need to message these people. People can take action by themselves. But if you're like stuck around that 3,000, 5,000 people following you, then it doesn't really make sense for you to be relying on people to just come to you specifically. It's extremely like, I don't even know what the word is for it, but you can't do that. And every single piece of engagement, like I said, implicit requests to learn more information, see more content about you specifically. So DMing people literally is just accelerating how quickly they make a decision. And if you want to make money quickly, and if you want to, let's say, get some money, like let's say in the next 3 months, you have to be doing this. If you're not doing this, it's not going to work. So, especially with a very small audience, which I said is very possible to make at least 30 to 40 grand from. And the reason why it's possible is because we are doing this exact strategy, okay? So, getting people to jump on calls. I have an approach called inbound setting science. It's on my YouTube somewhere. I'll probably link it in the description one place. But I've broken down exactly how you can do inbound appointment setting into 4 steps, okay? I have a proper video, like I said, on my YouTube video. It will be linked down below. But I'm just going to go over just like a very simple... I'm just going to simplify a little bit because I don't have a lot of time to, dive into every single part specifically. So... the first steps when you're trying to DM your people, you have to create context and engage intent. So let's say you create a piece of content, someone enjoys it. You now have to create some context in the actual message that you send it. So this is where a lot of people mess up. You have to ask them if they're interested before you even send them some information. So what I like to do is, hey, name, thanks for X. X is the context of what they did. So if they followed you, I'll say, hey, name, thanks for the follow. And then I'll say, did you follow me because you're actually looking to achieve X? So for my thing, if I get a follow, it's like, hey, thanks for the follow. Did you follow me because you're trying to get more organic clients or organic high-ticket clients? The reason why you say it this way is because you are framing the conversation to be about what your offer is. You don't want to message these people and be like, hey, how's it going? Or you're like, yo, bro, or you're like, all this type of stuff. It doesn't make sense, guys. Like, never do that. So this is an example of a first message that I did. It was, hey Nim, how's it going? I've seen you around. Curious, did you follow because you wanted to learn how to get more organic clients? And I did learn whoops just to get them to respond. Because sometimes people might think, if it's a very sophisticated market, some people might think, oh, this person is just a setter, like, oh, he's just like trying to sell me something. But sometimes it's really not, okay? And then the qualification process. So when you're trying to see if someone is actually qualified for what you offer, most of the time you can take a glance at the profile and you can kind of tell if they're qualified or not. If you can't, then you have to do some probing questions. So what I like to do is at least have five criteria for qualifications, and then 2 to 3 should be figured out with a question, and the rest of the other, let's say two or three, should be obvious. So let's say, for example, you can only work with people that are like in the US. It should be obvious if they're in the US by looking at the profile. Let's say you can only work with people that are at least making 5 to, let's say, 10K a month. If it's not obvious, you can ask that in the DMs in a specific way. Like, I'm not gonna go over exactly how you can ask those tricky questions, but I will make YouTube videos explaining how to do those in depth a little bit later. Okay. You need to have criteria, and then you have to position your questions in such a way that you get the answers to each single criteria in a specific way, okay? And then once you've done that, you want to transition and you want to segue into a call, okay? So once you found, let's say, a problem, let's say once you've qualified them and you're like, oh, this person is really qualified for my problem, it's very easy to transition, okay? You just have to use this framework. So what you need to do, let's say, for example, I'll give you a conversation example off the top of my head. Let's say I sell appointment setting and I go to someone. I'm like, hey, I want to help you get more appointments. And like, is that something you're interested in? And they're like, yeah. What I would say is, okay, cool. How many appointments are you booking right now? And they might say, oh, I booked 13 this month essentially. I'll be like, okay, cool. Like, so you booked 13 calls, right? Last month we actually booked around 56 calls. Like, we could actually help you solve this problem by using XYZ mechanism. Would you want to actually see if you can would you want to hop on a call to see how we can help you? Obviously, not every single conversation is going to go like that, but that's how you're going to try to transition it. So when you have all these things in places, this is exactly how it's going to look. Okay, this is just an example of conversation. I'm not going to break this down, but you can pause and look at this anyways. But basically what she's doing is she's qualifying him here by asking a specific qualifying question. And then she realizes that, oh, this person actually needs that offer in this conversation. And then she tries to segue into, booking a call. And then this person was like, sure, I'd love to take a look. And, he actually did hop on a call as well too. So obviously, we don't do messages like this no more, especially on different platforms. But, it's broken down. This is just when she was doing it before, but that's just a good example of how you can use that framework essentially. So yeah. So for each client that we work with, like I said, we write a custom script and we structure and train the setter to mimic how the client actually messages, so that it just seems extremely natural. Okay, Facebook's audience is really not as sophisticated as other platforms like Twitter or IG, so we can afford to have longer conversations with people specifically. So with acquisition really dialed in, we're booking around 2 to 3 calls a day, very, very consistently. It's actually ridiculous. Every single time, it's notification after notification that someone has booked a call for interest in what Rahim has to offer. Okay, now that's the acquisition side of things. And like I said, there will be an in-depth video going over exactly the DM script you can use if you want to copy and just paste it and just start DMing your audience right now. Okay, that's cool stuff. Now let's talk about the sales process, guys. So this is the one thing that it's one thing to get people on calls, but how do you actually sell them? It's actually funny because a lot of coaches are really bad with sales, and it's not a bad thing, because to be honest, you didn't really jump into coaching to sell to people. You jumped into coaching to coach people, but it just happens that you have to be really good at selling to actually get people to be convinced to give you money. So my belief is we had a very different sales process compared to what is usually done in the industry. We actually did a 2-call close. And the reason why we did a 2-call close is because we started to realize that once you start getting to the price point of selling stuff that's over 10K plus, doing one call closes is actually a double-edged sword. Reason being I say it's a double-edged sword is because once you're doing those types of deals, number one, it's very easy to, persuade and tell people what they want, and then they get you to pay them on the spot. And then as you start working with them, you realize that, hey, this person is probably not really the best fit, and it just kind of sucks. Or when you're trying to sell them all these packages, you're always going to get hit with the I need to think about it objection, or like or the objection of like, I have to look at, I have to look at if this makes sense specifically, because some people most of the time actually want to see if it makes sense, and they can't really figure that out on a 30 or 45-minute sales call when they're about to spend, $10,000 or $15,000 specifically, unless they've been primed to buy it beforehand, which I will explain to you a little bit later. But even with that, you will still get those people. So I still think it's a double-edged sword. Like, I know people that do want to go closes for things that are like really expensive when the audience is really primed. But this is for me, like, if let's say you don't have a lot of content and like, you haven't really got a good sales process that can get people primed, which I will make a video on a bit later, essentially. So if that's you, we found that the best mix for Rahim was actually have a discovery call to see if we can even help them in the first place. Get Rahim to make a custom video on the solution that we're actually going to implement for them. And then the price range at the end of the loom, telling them that if they reply and if they send something back, we're going to lock this in for them. And then getting them to agree on the details, hop on a call, and then, finalize all the details and basically pay the invoice. So that's exactly what we did for his sales process. And if you have this with the ridiculous amount of content that we're already producing with the VSL that we already made for him, and all of the stuff that all of the people who are just itching to buy from him because the offer is just so good, you will get people that will just hop on a corner like, yeah, I'm ready to go. He even DM close to people. And these are people that were just telling him to just send me the invoice. So, for example, this is a client that actually, he sent the video to him and he followed up and it was like, hey, just watch the video, love it. I really appreciate you working with me on the price. Then he tells him what he can do, and he actually did close for 4K up front, which was a, 7.3K, 7.5K deal. And went and even structured his offer, and we went with the structure. And even though it took Rahim like around 20 minutes to actually make these types of videos, maybe 10, 15 minutes, he resulted in closing really big upfront deals of people paying him lots of money. Like, it's ridiculous. And depending on who you're selling to, or what you're selling for, your sales process is going to be different. This is not me saying, hey, you should start doing 2 cold closes now. Like, I'm not telling you to do that. Because if you work with someone like us, we'll make sure that the process that you're using is specific to your market and it actually works specifically well to them. So, I just showed you the process that worked best for our client, not the process that you should be using. Like, depending on what your situation is, what you're selling, and who you're selling to is going to dictate what we're going to do. Like I said, I'm just showing what worked for our client. Okay? So, what are the next steps from here? That was a mouthful. So, from here, it's literally just making sure that he understands what we need to do and the daily actions are done every single day to actually scale him to the numbers he wants to go to. So we are actually on track to hit 100 grand cash collected, as we will actually start to see where we can implement stuff like ads, where we can try different channels such like YouTube, where we can nurture places, and also even tapping into Instagram as well too, because like I said, we've only done this with one specific platform. I don't think Facebook is completely tapped out. Facebook is not like tapped out at all. It's just we're going to start doing more volume on this and also start scaling this as well too. So it's going to be the main channel, and then others are just going to be supporting channels for lead nurturing, all that type of stuff. Okay, and all in all, that's pretty much what we did to scale Rahim to 40 grand in a single month. And let's say you're interested in having a transformation like this in your business as well too, and you just want someone to come in and just do all the stuff you don't want to do, like implement your sales process, figure out what your offer is, get people to actually do your acquisition stuff for you, build a sales process that actually gets people primed on the call, so when they do hop on the call, they're just ready to buy from you anyways. Then what you can do is you can actually send me a DM on Instagram. My links are going to be in the description. You can also DM me on Twitter as well too. And I'm very curious to hear your feedback on what this is. And let's say you want to just see my whole process. There's going to be a website link to my main website that goes over a video of exactly how we do these things specifically. And you can, schedule a free strategy call if you want to do that as well too. So DM me on Instagram if you're interested, and I really appreciate you watching this till the end. Curious to hear your feedback, and I hope you got a lot of value from this. All right, cheers, and links are going to be in the description for every single piece of content I reference. All right, ciao.